Here we go. Woohoo! Right, that's right. It is an exciting evening. Welcome to the 7th year of the pitch contest. I'm Susan Pleiner, and I'm pleased and delighted to see so many of you out tonight. And this is, I can promise you, is going to be a treat of an evening. I want to start by reminding you to silence your cell phones. So if everybody can take a second and do that, that'd be great. We don't want to distract our pitch folks. However, we do encourage you to live tweet through the event, and you can do that using the hashtag #ThePitch2018. Feel free to do that. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Centennial Center, and then we're going to get on with our event. The Centennial Center for Leadership was endowed in celebration of the William Smith Centennial in 2008. And over the last 9 years, we've built a center whose offerings go beyond leadership programming. While leadership is at the core of all of our programming, our entrepreneurial and innovation programs are equally valued. In honor of the upcoming 10-year anniversary, 10 years next year, we have changed the name to better reflect our work. We continue to honor the Centennial Center name and all those who donated during the William Smith Centennial year. And we have added leadership, entrepreneurship, and innovation. This is our new logo. Entrepreneurship will always be rooted in leadership learning at the Centennial Center. We hope to inspire the next generation of entrepreneurial leaders who add value to ideas that transform communities, improve systems, and create products or services that change the way we interact with our world and with each other. After 7 years, the pitch contest is a celebration of the extraordinary variety and student effort, and I know you're in for a real treat tonight. For the past 5 years, Stu Lieblein, the class of 1990, has generously funded the $10,000 grant. The Centennial Center would like to thank him for his support and dedication to our students, the contest, and HWS. And we're delighted he would partner with us to provide this opportunity for new entrepreneurial leaders to showcase their abilities to innovate. Stu, unfortunately, the first year ever, couldn't be with us tonight, but he is watching at home on the live stream. Hi, Stu. As you can hear, we are all grateful to you, Stu. Before we begin, won't you please join me in congratulating our student finalists. The Centennial Center is deeply proud of all of the participants in the pitch contest, and especially these 4 with us tonight. Their ideas are grown from the vibrant entrepreneurial culture at HWS and are supported by the many faculty, staff, and alums that contribute to their learning. Harrison, Maura, Ben, and Andrew, we are looking forward to hearing the fruits of all your labors. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage President Vincent, who is with us tonight for the first time at the pitch event. And President Vincent has been a wonderful supporter of our entrepreneurial leadership since he stepped onto campus. We're so pleased that you will be with us tonight. President Vincent.
Hey, Paul, I was sending out some Instagram posts about the pitch, so thank you for letting me do that. Susan, thank you so much, and thank you so much for your leadership. Can we give Susan Pleiner a round of applause? Look at this room. Look at it. It's standing room only. This is fantastic. And thank you all for coming tonight to an event that is a highlight for so many during the academic year. I'm a big believer in the transformative growth opportunities that Hobart and William Smith can offer its students, whether it's studying abroad, summer research, internship, or athletic competitions. The colleges continue to distinguish itself with opportunities that challenge students but also support their passions. This is my first pitch contest, and I'm very excited to witness these pitch presentations. I know months of hard work go into preparing for this event, and I want to commend all of the finalists. Going forward, each of the finalists will always know what it takes to pitch an audience, to sell an idea, to stand up and courageously ask someone else to invest in you. I'm so proud to support the entrepreneurial learning opportunities. like the pitch, that allows students to gain and practice these skills, which are so important for their careers. I'd also like to point out that all 4 of our finalists this year have participated in our outstanding athletic programs. Maura is a member of the William Smith Field hockey team. Michael and Ben are members of the ice hockey team. I don't know, that was a little weak, fellas. And Harris is a former member of the basketball team. All right. They represent our very best scholar athletes. The success of the Stu Lieblein pitch contest, organized by the Centennial Center for the last 7 years, has demonstrated the student interest in entrepreneurial learning. Today we have a very popular entrepreneurial studies minor, and very recently have established a Bozzuto Center for Entrepreneurship at our downtown incubator at space at 22 Castle Street. It is clear we have the partnerships among our curricular offerings and co-curricular programs to really train students in the knowledge that they need to bring an idea to fruition. It's an exciting time to be a student entrepreneur at HWS. Stu, I know you couldn't be here, but again, can we give Stu another round of applause? We want to thank you for your support of the contest and for your work with the students behind the scenes. I'm also thankful for the alums and parents who served as mentors to the pitch during the contest. I know it's also the student and mentor connections that make for a truly transformational experience. And can we give the parents and the mentors another round of applause? I now have the distinct pleasure of introducing our alumni and alumnae judges on tonight's panel. They are an esteemed group gathered for their professional experiences and expertise. Won't you please join me in welcoming Julie Bazan, class of '93, owner of Luigi's Old World Market and Cafe in downtown Geneva. If you've not gone to Luigi's, you're in for a treat. I can personally attest to it's wonderful down there. You know, it has been scientifically proven with firm empirical evidence that the class of 1983 is the best class in the history of the colleges. Want proof? We have 2 judges from that esteemed class. David Kaplan, class of '83, co-founder and CEO of Pure Solo Limited. Dave. Dr. Michael Miller, class of '83, president of Microbiology Consultants and owner of RapidMicromethods.com. Michael Miller. And class of 1995, Suzanne Rutstein, the owner of Juju, a lifestyle brand. So I've been given an opportunity to ask our esteemed judges a few questions. I promised Susan I would stick to the script and not go rogue, because I have my classmates up there, and boy, there's so many great opportunities, but I'm gonna resist. But I will start with my dear friend Michael. We know about your successes, but when you failed, but what happened when you failed, and what lessons did you learn from your failure?
Greg, you asked me the failure question. During my career, I can't point to one specific failure, but generally speaking, and this goes for the beginning of my career, when I thought I knew everything, I failed to listen. I failed to understand and accept that other people had points of view that might actually be right and prove me wrong. And in that case, over the years and over the time in my career, I've learned to actively listen and certainly work with others and their opinions, because everyone's opinion does count. And I'm still working on that today.
Great. Now, Suzanne, what advice would you give someone with an idea?
Well, first of all, I'd surround myself with members of the class of '83.
Yes, yes.
As Julie and I have learned, that's invaluable, and we'll ride your coattails for a while. I think what I've learned, and the advice I would have, is to be brutally honest with yourself. When I started out as an entrepreneur, I wanted to put a happy spin on it, especially when going to family and friends and my supporters who were either emotionally supporting me or financially backing me. I wanted my numbers to look good. And I learned quickly that honest numbers and honest information is a far better place. And just because it doesn't always look sunny doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means you have to be real about the obstacles that you're facing.
Great, thank you. David, I'm not going to ask you about your favorite Oaks moment, but I will ask you, how has your liberal arts degree helped you navigate the worlds of technology and the arts?
Thank you, Greg. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, there we go. It was an amazing experience, actually. When I first came for a liberal arts education here, I thought I was going to follow in my parents' footsteps and did pre-med programs in the first year and really failed miserably. So that answered the failed question as well. And liberal arts actually allowed me to realize that there were lots of other things to learn, and I shifted and listened to my own voice, what my interests were, ended up studying psychology and economics, and by the time I got into the real world, I spent over 2 decades in banking at Goldman Sachs and then migrated to entrepreneurial items with mobile devices and social media. So it's been a really adaptive experience, and I think without that 4-year program here, it wouldn't have been that easy. And it came with some hiccups along the way, and then you move on from there. It's been a great ride.
And Julie, you recently switched careers from finance to the restaurant business. What has this taught you about risk?
Well, my best advice would be try to at least keep one person employed with health benefits. But for myself, my husband and I both left. I left finance, he left banking, and we threw it all in. But I think you have to, when taking risks, do what you love. Know that you'll make mistakes, but you also have to believe in yourself. You will fail, learn from it, but know you are your best supporter. So if you truly believe in it and you love it, you can make it happen. I don't like to cook, but I'm in the restaurant business. Fortunately, my husband does, but I love to work with people. So it works for us, and I think when it comes to taking risk, you just have to be ready and you have to know. And you have to be willing to make some sacrifice. Like I said, not having immediate paychecks, you just cut back. But it's all fun, and you have to really enjoy it. So,
Great. Thank you. Thank you all for your time tonight. We are honored to have you here. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to the Associate Director for the Centennial Center for Leadership, Dr. Amy Forbes.
Let's give a big hand to President Vinson, who did a great job with us tonight. Okay, we're getting close to the pitch presentations. Let me just explain how the contest works. Before we begin, we set out a call in the fall for proposals. We asked students to describe their ideas for products, services, and organizations. They could be for-profit or nonprofit. Our selection committee then chose 10 semifinalists, each of them with a mentor in our alum and parent network.
These mentors assisted students as they revised and strengthened their proposals, which they then resubmitted in January. After reviewing the proposals for a second time, our selection committee decided on 4 finalists. These finalists are with us now. They have withstood 2 rigorous rounds where a written proposal was emphasized. For the last month, they have been training in our pitch boot camp where they must shift their proposals into a pitch presentation. Tonight, with the help of our judges, we will select one winner who will be awarded $10,000 to take their idea to a reality. The audience should know that the judges are looking for 5 different criteria: presentation, innovativeness, viability, significance, and leadership. Each finalist will have 8 minutes of uninterrupted time to pitch their idea. After each presentation, our judges will have time to ask the finalists questions. Once all 4 finalists have finished, our judges will be excused to deliberate, and our audience can enjoy some dessert outside during a brief intermission. During intermission, we will visit with last year's winner, Sam Solomon, and then afterwards, we will announce the winner of the $10,000 pitch grant. Okay, we are ready now for the pitch presentations. So to start off this evening, I'd like to invite to the stage our first finalist, a senior named Andrew Szilard. Andrew is a... No fans here. Andrew is an economics and environmental studies major. He was mentored by Nan Doyle, parent of 2018, who is president of the International Forum. Please welcome to the stage Andrew, creator of Revolve.
Hi, my name is Andrew Szilard, and tonight I'd like to present Revolve, a social media crowdfunding platform for nonprofit organizations. Last year, I was standing in line at the checkout aisle at Wegmans. I got to the front, the cashier told of my items and asked, "Would you like to donate to our charity of the month today?" I wanted to donate, but I had so many questions. Where is my money going? How is it being used? Who am I helping? I didn't donate that day, and I started to think about how charitable giving in general often triggers these questions. I wanted to find out if others had the same reservations that I did, so I returned to Wegmans the following week, and I surveyed customers to find out if and why they had donated that day. I surveyed a total of 122 people, and the results supported my concerns even more than I had expected. Only 14 people had donated that day, while 108, nearly 90%, had not. I found that the leading reason why a majority of customers did not donate was because there was no assurance that their money would be used properly. These results reflect the national trend of giving in many categories. Princeton Survey Research Associates found that nationally, only 13% of people have confidence in the spending choices of nonprofit organizations. After conducting this survey, I found that there were 3 main reasons that people did not donate to nonprofit organizations. 1, a lack of transparency. People don't know where their money's going. 2, no sense of community. People want to be part of something that's bigger than themselves. And 3, a lack of connection. Nothing makes you feel more connected to a cause than a story. As a social media crowdfunding platform, Revolve addresses these 3 problems. Here's how. Nonprofits that are certified by Revolve can post projects on the site, specifying the details, where the money's going, how it's being used, who is being helped, and the total amount of money and time that is needed to complete the project. People can donate money or time, and nonprofits communicate with donors through a social feed, posting photos, videos, updates, testimonials, telling a story about the project and its developments. Through its social media network, Revolve restores a sense of community and human connectivity, as people can see where their friends are donating, how nonprofits are interacting with the community, and can share information, ideas, and messages. Now, Revolve is a 2-sided platform. On one side are the donors. These are our users. On the other side are the nonprofits. These are our customers. We just talked about how Revolve is going to address the donors' problems. Now let's talk about the nonprofits. I interviewed many charities of all types and sizes, including the American Red Cross, Catholic Charities, Safe Harbors, and many more, to find out how this platform could better serve their needs. I found that what these nonprofits really need is a lot more than just funding. These nonprofits need greater access to funding, a volunteer base, a way to track and learn from past performances, and most importantly, a platform that matches the profile of the 21st century giver. Nonprofits currently have the problem of having to use all different channels to get access to these important resources, spending a lot of time and money in the process, and in considering this problem, Revolve was designed as this all-inclusive platform for nonprofits to enhance the efficiency of their organization. And this differentiates us in a big way. Here's how. Revolve provides the option for nonprofits to post projects that are either public, open to the entire Revolve donor base, or private, open to only a specific group of donors. Rather than working with individual donors, Christine Squires, the Senior Vice President at AmeriCares, a global healthcare nonprofit organization, said that currently the organization has to find corporate partners and then run a website for its employees to donate directly to a specific cause. And if Revolve provided this option to create private projects, AmeriCares would use this channel to run all of its projects through. Revolve is the only platform that offers funding, time, and talent. Most people think of charitable giving as just financial, but there's a huge need for volunteers as well, and this service meets that demand. Nonprofits are always looking to become more efficient and to learn from past performances. And with Revolve's analytics tool, nonprofits can measure performance so that they can design more effective and more impactful projects in the future. This technology is needed now because the future is here. Have you ever noticed walking around campus or through the streets of New York City that most people are looking down, buried in their phones? That's just the way the generations that have grown up with technology are, and that's not going to change. If that's not going to change, then the methods for charitable engagement need to adapt for the new generation of givers. Online giving grew by more than 13% last year, and now more than $30 billion are donated online nationally. To put that into perspective, the total amount of online donations would pay for 500,000 full-paying HWS students. That's 1,000 years of graduating classes. According to nonprofit Tech for Good, 48% of American adults would use a mobile app to run all of their donations through if given the opportunity. Well, since donors are looking for a new way to get involved in charity, nonprofits need a new way to engage with donors, and that's where Revolve comes in. Now, to get this idea started, I need $18,500. That investment includes the development of the platform, advertising and promotion, and the formation of the benefit corporation. The $10,000 from the pitch competition would go towards startup costs and the release of the beta application in Geneva. Revenue is generated from a service fee of 5% that is taken from the total amount donated. In the first 12 months, Revolve is expected to facilitate the donating of over $200,000 and more than 20,000 hours in volunteer time to nonprofits in Geneva. And in doing this, Revolve is expected to be profitable in year one. The beta application will be released in Geneva in August of this year, and after updating the platform based off feedback from donors and nonprofits, Revolve will be scaled to Ithaca and then to Syracuse and Rochester, and then throughout New York, strategically targeting areas with dense populations and large concentrations of the new generation of givers. This past year, I was fortunate enough to be one of 1,000 students from 100 different countries accepted to the Clinton Global Initiative University on account of this idea. The conference was hosted by President Bill Clinton, and in the president's opening remarks, he said something that motivated me to pursue Revolve even further. He walked out on stage and said, "In this day and age, there's no reason why you can't do good and do well at the same time, and if you combine those two, that's all the incentive that you could ever need to bring an idea to reality. And that's why we need you." And that's why I'm here today. Imagine watching from your phone the effect that your donation to the lunch program at Geneva Elementary has on the community, or forming a connection with a woman and her children, rebuilding their lives after the destruction caused by Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico, Or seeing the smile on a child's face after receiving his first ever wheelchair and knowing that you were a part of that? Well, I want you to be a part of this, to be a part of the new generation of giving. And with your help, Revolve will become a reality. Thank you.
Andrew, thank you. That was fantastic. Anyone who wants to work with nonprofits and get the needed funds to the folks who really need it should be commended. My question to you is, why would nonprofits want to give up 5% of donations coming in when they already have targeted advertising in place, including social media, as well as metric programs to track their donation base? Could you explain that, please?
Sure. So the Huffington Post ran a national poll and found that the average charity spends 37 cents on the dollar. That's 37% of all funds raised on fundraising and other expenses. Nonprofits don't just send an email or write a letter and receive a check in the mail the next day. They have to host fundraising events, and that costs a lot of money. Now, 5% is a small fee compared to that, and that is the industry standard in the crowdfunding industry. And I think Revolve offers a lot more than any crowdfunding platform does.
Andrew, I'm on quite a few boards in Rochester and for nonprofits, and one of the issues we face is that we want to be connected with our donors. I don't understand in your pitch, the analytics doesn't provide the background information for the donors that I can see. Can you explain that? I want more than, as a board member, I need more than just past performance of what was donated. I want to make the connection so that I can further enhance the donation from those individuals. So address, name, giving information.
Absolutely. So when donors create a profile, they fill in their interests and they fill in their psychological profile. And Revolve actually offers this platform where they can send recommendations of nonprofits that are closest to the heart of the specific donor. Now, all donors have access to a basic analytics platform where they can see how social media performed in the past, their social content based off likes, comments, shares. They also have access to the donor base analytics. How much donors have donated in the past? What is the breakdown of donors? What is the breakdown of donors that have donated time to your organization? This analytics platform will give you the information of who your ideal donor is.
First of all, congratulations. It was a wonderful presentation, and I know a lot of work went into it. I have a few questions about when we get to talk about your numbers and how you're coming up with a budget for the project. You talk about certifying the nonprofits. How would that be done? How is that paid for? How do you envision that going forward? Talk a little bit about that.
So there's 3 main criteria that nonprofits have to meet to have access to this platform. One is they have to spend 65% or more of all funds raised on their charitable mission. 2 is they have to have fully audited financial forms, and 3 is they have to have detailed expenses. Now there's 3 charity watchdogs, Charity Watch, Charity Navigator, and BBY's Alliance, that rate nonprofits based off criteria like effectiveness, governance, and financial decisions. We will leverage that information. Actually, in the back of the book in front of you, there's 137 nonprofits that we've already certified within the area and some nationally as well.
There we go. That was spectacular. Really, really great presentation. Thank you. Tease it up for the whole night. I have a question just on, it sounds like you've made a little bit of progress, and you've shown what looks like mobile apps, and then there were some web-based needs, cost to get going and to build it up. Can you just say exactly where you are and how the first experience of 122 people that you pulled outside of the supermarket or the shopping center has changed, and where's the point at which these donations are now going to happen? Is it all in a mobile app, or is it also web-based? And how does the donor and the charity match up in those two different platforms?
So this platform will be web-based, iOS, and Android. And currently in the process, the developers are ready to start tomorrow. It will take 2.5 months for the developers. We're working with a company called Amorphous, based out of India, that has hubs in New York City and in California. I worked with them about 5 years ago to develop an e-commerce platform, and we've developed a trusting relationship over time, and I know the product that they have. We're currently looking for a 7th advisory member to our board that is a technology specialist that can oversee the development of the platform to ensure maintainability and scalability for the platform. Now, in regards to your question about how nonprofits will meet on different platforms, all the platforms will be integrated. So if a nonprofit posts a project on web, somebody can see it on Android as well.
Thank you.
Andrew, I'm sorry, I do have a follow-up because not-for-profits are dear to my heart. So when you answered my question, I still am not clear. Will the not-for-profit get the actual behind-the-scenes information, such as the donor's name and address, or is it just the donor that gets information on the not-for-profit?
No, it's the nonprofit that gets all the information, and there's a feature where the nonprofit can actually export all that information to Excel so that they can manipulate the information themselves.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great job, Andrew. That was awesome. Our second finalist is also a senior named Maura Moran. Maura is an individually designed major in business and innovation. She was paired with pitch mentors Matt Milner, class of '99, and Patrick Byrne, class of 2002, who are CEO and COO of Edgewood Economics. Won't you please welcome Maura to the stage to present Frontier Financial.
Hello, my name is Maura Moran, and my company, Frontier Financial, was born right here at HWS. It originated as a project in my entrepreneurial leadership class 2 years ago. Since then, I've worked to cultivate our core values, develop our business model, and scale our impact. And tonight, I'm excited to share with you all the immense potential this service has to change millions of young American lives just like yours and mine. After 2 years of research and development, I found that my initial realization in starting this service remains true. And it's that most young professionals with degrees not pertaining to finance or econ in some way believe that strategic budgeting, saving, and eventually investing to grow their money falls outside the realm of their capability. I've interviewed over 100 potential customers, all graduates of 4-year colleges or universities, now members of the workforce with varying professional backgrounds. And when I asked them what their idea of financial success looked like heading into their 30s, a common theme began to emerge early on. Besides never having to move back in with their parents, that theme was having enough money to invest. See, many of the financial literacy resources available to young professionals online tell them that investing their money is a crucial practice to ensure future security and prosperity. However, when I asked them, well, do you plan to start investing? The majority of those with no finance-oriented education gave a variation of the same response. I don't have $10,000 to invest right now. And that response points to a widespread problem. Business Insider reports that less than 1/3 of millennials have any money in the stock market, and that the reason they don't is that they can't afford to. So think of graduating and securing your first salary-paid job as one stepping stone, and then reaching a point where you can afford to start a substantial investment portfolio as another. For most young professionals in their 20s, these steps are just too far apart, but Frontier Financial can bridge that gap. We are a budgeting and planning service for young professionals that optimizes their monthly expenditures to help them achieve substantial savings goals, which ultimately become the foundation for their investment portfolios. Our value is twofold. We make short-term strategic budgeting easy and effective while simultaneously setting our customers up for long-term financial success. My competitor analysis has led me to find that most other digital financial planning services tend to focus on one or the other of these goals. While apps like Capital, Mint, and Acorns are the most accessible for millennial users, I found that many potential customers have tried them, but they tend to stop using them or even delete the apps when they feel that they haven't made substantial progress within the first 1 to 2 months of usage. On the other hand, bigger financial firms like Edward Jones or Fidelity that offer online services tend to focus on the lofty retirement fund goal. This goal can seem daunting and far off for younger users. And that's why at Frontier Financial, our focus is not 50 years from now. It's the next decade on the horizon. So let me show you how we're going to accomplish that goal with the help of a potential customer, Danielle. Upon logging into her Frontier profile, Danielle enters information about her job, salary, and living situation. She's a 24-year-old registered nurse who makes $65,000 a year in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Next on her profile, Danielle enters all of her consistent monthly expenditures, how much she pays for each one, and what company provides that good or service each month. She also specifies how much she puts towards her student loans, as well as an amount of monthly leisure spending that she would like to have. Now, to achieve her savings goal of $30,000 in 4 years, Danielle will have to put away $625 a month, which will be funneled into her Frontier savings account. Here's where our service is truly different. Our price comparison algorithm will then analyze all of Danielle's alternative spending options available to her within her geographic location of Philadelphia, and will be able to show her that there are several ways she could be saving money, even by making small changes to her monthly budget. Frontier showed her that by switching to a new TV, cable, and internet bundle from Verizon, she was able to save considerably and stay with the same provider. Danielle also subscribed to 5 monthly services, from newspapers to makeup boxes to Netflix. And Frontier showed her that 3 of these were offering discounts for annual rates rather than month-to-month alternative payment plans. Finally, Danielle belonged to a class-based gym where she took kickboxing and spinning for $75 a month. Frontier's algorithm showed her that there was a gym even closer to her apartment that offered these classes rolled into a full-service membership for just $50 a month. All in all, our algorithm was able to find her $165 in monthly savings, which she then decided to dedicate towards her Frontier savings account. This decision accelerated the achievement of her $30,000 savings goal in 4 years to just 3 years and 1 month. As a standard cloud-based service, we'll undergo typical startup costs through the development phase, which will be alleviated by $10,000 from the pitch contest to help get our platform up and running. We'll then aggressively pursue adoption by partnering with college career services offices to cultivate a test market of recent graduates in one city and perform a beta test of the service before a national rollout. Our dynamic, multi-sided business model gives us the opportunity to tap into multiple revenue streams. First and foremost, as our subscriptions increase, so will our revenue and thus profits. Second, we'll be starting referral partnerships with the companies whose services we recommend to our customers. So, when Danielle switches to her new $50 gym membership, Frontier Financial will make a percentage commission on her first transaction with FitnessWorks Philadelphia. Finally, we have a unique opportunity with our first round of users graduating from our service once they've achieved their savings goal. We will be partnering them with investment houses through consumer data sales. We are hand-delivering perfectly prepared customers to firms like Vanguard, Edward Jones, and Fidelity. Frontier Financial has a large and sustainable customer segment. We offer an innovative and accessible service and have the potential for huge growth through multiple revenue streams. But at the heart of this company is the genuine belief that we can change the lives and futures of millions, granting them the opportunity to achieve financial literacy like never before, and allowing them to easily price compare and make smart, informed decisions now that will impact their lives for years to come. We can create a generation of financially independent and prosperous professionals regardless of the field they work in. And that is the power of Frontier Financial. Thank you.
Thank you. We're very impressed by the quality of your presentation, and we know how much work went into it. I have some questions for you about sort of your cost of customer acquisition. And going through the numbers that were a part of your presentation, it was sort of all over the map, where you started with a very low cost of customer acquisition, and then it raised over time, and then settled back down. How did you come up with those numbers? And in my experience, it's generally a different shaped curve, where it costs a lot in the beginning, and you kind of ride that wave, and then your last few customers come at a higher cost as you get the outliers. So can you talk a little bit more about your investment there and what that means?
Yeah, so that kind of initial curve that kind of started low, got a little higher, and then dropped down, that was us accommodating for our first round of users actually graduating from the service. And so while we are profiting from their exit from Frontier Financial after they've achieved their savings goal through consumer data sales, we are losing that customer base. And so you'll also see that that correlates with the amount of subscriptions that we have. So it rises, and then the second marginal rise is not as big as the first, but then it comes back up. And so those two kind of go in tandem. In terms of the cost of customer acquisition, we are banking for it to be lower in the beginning because basically our main channel, besides low-cost social media marketing, will be college career services offices. And so we're really leveraging that trusting relationship that students have with career services, and then career services want the best for their students. And so integrating Frontier Financial into pre-graduation preparation programs will really be our main channel for adoption in the beginning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is very informative, and it's very personal to me because I have 3 adult children. One saves everything. By the way, that's the William Smith grad from '09. The other one spends everything, but he has a good time doing it. The third one has managed to balance out between his needs and wants and savings. So I can certainly see the advantages of such a program for young professionals. One of my questions refers to a term that you had used, which is the Frontier Savings Account. Could you please explain what that is?
Yeah, so it actually is a savings account that will be done through our platform. However, we are not a bank, certainly not. But how many of those apps work, like a Mint or an Acorns, where they have access to all of your financials and actually are putting money from one account into another, is that you have to be backed by an FDIC-approved organization. And so as long as our service would be backed by, for example, a Bank of America or a TD or a Synchrony, those accounts would remain secure, and then we could also benefit from their digital security encryptions as a form of security for our customers as well. So that partnership would really be crucial.
Okay, so where would the money actually sit? Would it be in those banks, or would the money sit somewhere in your organization?
It would sit in the banks.
It would?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you again. That was also a fantastic presentation. I couldn't have done this like you guys are doing it back then. There's no way. Anyway, well done. So I just had to say that. That's two. We've got a hot streak going here. There's an element to your. First of all, I think it's brilliant. The need seems to be there. You're proving that. You've done some homework there. How much of your business is an education platform to teach people how to do these things, and how much of it is a technical program where you're going to have all these partnerships where there's process going on behind the scenes, matching up the local gym that's cheaper versus others. There's an awful lot of implied work there that has to happen. Can you just talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I actually think that it really goes back to what we value as a generation. And so, yes, a major part of it is the technical experience, and a major part of it is achieving financial literacy through that experience. That really was, in making this service, I wanted to make it accessible in a way through a medium that young adults now understand they've grown up with. And so I think really making it a very interactive digital platform actually enhances the educational value of it, because that's how we learn now. And so if they're able to see that, you know, maybe I switch to a gym that's further away or closer, I switch to, ladies, you'll like this, Birchbox to another makeup box. You know, they see the opportunity cost, and then they have ownership in making that decision. And even though it's on their computer screen, they're learning from that experience. So I think those two really go hand in hand.
Well, coming from finance, I have to say it's wonderful to see a woman present on finance, because you don't see that very often, and I think that's great. And having spoken to the senior athletes on financial issues, there is a great need, not just here, but in every college, for financial literacy. But my question surrounds your partnering with other companies, and I would like to hear how that results in an unbiased recommendation to your clients.
Yeah, so the algorithm is primarily unbiased because it's a data mining algorithm. So if it's available within that geographic location, it's going to be presented on their profile, no questions asked. If that company partners with us, then we make the commission. And if they happen to be getting a lot of referrals from us in one city, then that would be a beneficial relationship. But we certainly want it to become, you know, we are funneling our customers to one gym because they offer a better commission fee for us. You know, that algorithm would take care of that bias for us because we have no option in what it's presenting.
I've got one follow-on. You said you were going to do a pilot program and then go national.
Yeah.
How much extra work do you think you'll need to do once you see the results of the pilot to prepare yourself to be able to do that?
Yeah, we budgeted about 4 months in between the pilot's finale and then going national. I think a lot of the work will be just really accommodating the algorithm to different markets. And so kind of going through that test market and probably in one city, and primarily in the Northeast, we look at Chicago, Boston, and DC. Very different markets, very different customer segments, or I'm sorry, demographics. But then you look at maybe a Tucson or a San Diego. And so making sure that the algorithm can accommodate those markets in the same way that they're accommodating a Boston would be the biggest challenge for us. Is this on?
And I'm on.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had one other follow-up. And this comes back to the savings account.
Yeah.
Because you will be accessing this data from wherever the money is going to be sitting. Obviously, you will have to have some expertise in finance, in the technology of accessing, and more importantly, security.
Yeah.
So do you have that expertise now? If not, where will you get that expertise, and how will that figure into your overall budget?
That expertise will definitely come from our advisory board, but being as we are so multi-sided, we're involved with those banks, we're involved with the investment houses. We kind of will get the security encryptions from both sides, or at least industry-leading practices from both sides. So incorporating that into our own procedures will really be how we make that secure. But right now, I've worked with a few web development programs, and specifically encryption security, to just kind of get an idea of what the scope of this is, and it's definitely doable. There are services that are doing it right now. It really is replicable with other services, other digital financial services. What's different is the way that we're using the algorithm. So the security is there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great job, Maura. Thank you. Okay, our third finalist is senior Ben Greiner. Ben is an American Studies major. He worked closely with pitch mentor Kathy Platoni, class of '74, who is a retired colonel in the Medical Service Corps and U.S. Army Reserve. She is also an Army Reserve psychology consultant. Please welcome Ben to the stage to present talkaboutdepression.org. Before Ben begins his presentation, he wants the audience to know that his topic is a sensitive one. Please be sure to take the necessary steps you need to engage in self-care, which could mean stepping out into the hall for a few minutes, talking with him afterwards, or calling our counseling center. Ben?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Ben Greiner, and I'm here to present to you talkaboutdepression.org, a nonprofit organization with a website platform that gives you a better way to communicate with someone who's going through depression or that might also be contemplating suicide. This is my story. On June 30th, 2017, I got a text from my best friend saying, "I don't want to live anymore." We've been friends since I was 10 years old. He's one of those friends I can always go to with any problem I have. I watched him be successful in both school and athletics, which even gained him a full Division I scholarship to a top school in the United States. The minute I heard those words, I flashed back to a time when we were 10 years old, skating on the lake together, and I thought to myself, there's no way this could be him. After 14 years of friendship, I never saw this coming. My stomach sank, and I didn't know what to do. I felt truly helpless in that moment. I was thousands of miles away, so I did what anyone would do when they don't know something. I Googled it. I searched the words, how to talk a friend out of being suicidal. The first thing that came up was to call the suicide helpline, so I did. The man on the other line gave me some vague information on how to help my friend. Anxious and confused, I then reached out to my friend's dad and shared with him the vague information. I was in a state of utter panic. I didn't have much of any information on what to do or how to help my best friend. I quickly realized I couldn't be the only one going through this when trying to help their friend. So I took action. I found out that depression is the leading cause of disability across the United States. According to the CDC, 1 out of every 6 adults will experience depression at some point in their life. This means if there are 300 people in this room, 50 of you have dealt, will deal with, or are currently dealing with depression. Depression and suicide amongst college-age students is an absolute reality, not just a shocking statistic. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 15 and 34 is suicide. There are more than twice as many suicides as there are homicides in the past year. With depression and suicide being so relevant in today's society, how is it possible that potentially life-saving information is not made easily and readily available? When my friend texted me those words, I could have had minutes to save his life. The fact that I could not find access to this information is simply not okay. Talkaboutdepression.org gives you the right information at the right time. So what's out there now for someone trying to intervene with someone who's having suicidal thoughts? If someone were to search what I did, they would find websites like WikiHow and helpguide.org. Websites like these do not outline the difference between emergency and non-emergency situations. They present an overwhelming amount of information in an incredibly hard to navigate platform. As you can see here, WikiHow presents potentially life-saving information in an incredibly inefficient and effective way. Anyone in a state of panic does not benefit from taking the time to read this much information. Also, did you know anyone can edit a WikiHow page? Talkaboutdepression.org changes things. Here's why. We give you emergency protocols, peer-to-peer communication strategies, and access to a licensed professional or psychologist for the person in need. With the help of Dr. Kathy Platoni, a renowned expert in the treatment of PTSD, I began this process of creating a platform. Dr. Platoni has served for over 4 wartime deployments, garnering and is a proud William Smith alum, class of '74. Together, we have been working towards optimizing the most effective and efficient protocols for talkaboutdepression.org. Dr. Platoni is the start to our high-level advisory board, where we are creating great relationships, peer-to-peer communication strategies, protocol accessibility, and a better time to a solution where critical information is necessary to save lives. Additionally, much of my research stems from the work of Randy Jensen, a suicide prevention expert, where protocols have been utilized throughout the United States and the US Army. We offer 2 platforms of service, one for emergency situations and one for those who want to learn more on how to help. If you come to our homepage and you click "This is an emergency," you'll be prompted with the question that says, "Are you with your friend?" If you choose no, you'll then be redirected to a step-by-step crisis intervention protocol in order to help the person in need. If you choose yes, you'll be shown what to do in the same effective manner. If you come back to our homepage and you click into the window that says "How do I help?", you'll come to another page that has tabs that include Prevent, Connect, and About. On the Connect tab, you have a drop-down menu that gives you access to mental health clubs, counseling centers, and licensed professionals. All you have to do is type in your zip code, and you get the right help for your friend. We're proud to have partnered with the Beautiful Minds Club here at HWS, and couldn't be more excited to add to the ever-important conversation going on about mental health around campus. There are clubs like this all across the country. We plan to utilize them in order to spread the word of talkaboutdepression.org. By leveraging these already existing networks, we can have continued protocol optimization as well as bring traffic to our website. In order to be financially sustainable, talkaboutdepression.org will file to become a 501c3 nonprofit, gaining revenue from sponsors, grants, and individual donors. We are currently applying, 50% of our revenue will come from sponsors like the New York State of Mental Health, which is located just down the road in Rochester. We also intend to target the nationally recognized hospitals like Johns Hopkins University Hospital, UMass Memorial Hospital, and the Mayo Clinic. With these big sponsorships, we can have certified information and make sure we are on the forefront of current research about depression and suicide. The other 50% of our revenue will come from grants and individual donors. We're currently applying for 2 grants in the mental health communication space with potential funding of upwards of $2 million. With the $10,000, talkaboutdepression.org can be a fully functioning website by the end of this year. We plan to spend $4,000 on the platform development and the remaining funds for search engine optimization, ensuring that we are the #1 search result when you need help for your friends. I will never forget the helpless feeling of not knowing what to do or how to help my best friend. No one should have to feel helpless in these potentially tragic situations. The information we need exists, just not in the right time. With your help, talkaboutdepression.org can and will put this potentially life-saving information into the hands of those who need it most. Together, let us change the way we communicate about depression. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing such a touching story. Your friend is okay now?
Yep, yeah, it's okay.
Okay, getting help. Wonderful, good. My question for you is, you mentioned that you're applying for 2 grants currently, yet in the information we have, there's no information on payroll or employees, and grants can be very hard, tedious, and long to fill out and obtain. So how are you going to do that? Strictly through volunteerism, or how are you going to get the experienced grant writer without paying for them?
Right, so essentially, obviously that's our first priority, is to hire a legal team and handle, obviously, the other side of what grants, or what you need for grants. But like I said, we're currently applying for that 1 grant with potential funding of $1.8 million. It's called the Garrett Lee Smith Grant. But we also are taking that into consideration and know that we need to have a team of people ready to jump on those grants. But there's also 617 available in the mental health communication space. So we're really excited about that and the potential revenue there. So.
Thank you very much for that. That's obviously an incredible topic. I just learned a lot. I appreciate it. It's a delicate subject, and you clearly have outlined what seems to be a great solution, but I still have a delicate question.
Yep.
In your service, when someone goes and chooses that yes or no in whatever circumstance, that's an incredibly important moment.
Yep.
And how much work will your organization need to do to be able to get that right? Because if it's going to be on a webpage providing information, this is still a human moment. And it might be better than what's out there, but it's still an incredibly important one. Can you talk about that?
Exactly, yeah. So with the help of Dr. Kathy Bottoni, she's given me access to these step-by-step crisis intervention protocols. A lot of her work with our veterans and PTSD deals with suicide prevention. And additionally with Randy Jensen, I mentioned. So these protocols have been summarized and condensed to the most critical information, and they are doctor approved. So you're getting the most precise information you need for that moment. We just see a lot of potential with the future of optimizing the situations. So for my situation, I was not with my friend. So there's other situations that we can potentially optimize with our protocols.
Ben, that was excellent. You've actually worked on providing a solution to an unmet need, so I thank you for that. One of your resources is an attorney, correct? It's providing some legal guidance. And my question is surrounding your emergency protocols. Because folks will go to your site and they will make decisions based on what guidance you provide at that time period. The information from your site, does that provide any additional concern or risk in terms of legal or liability based on what that individual does with the information, and has your attorney guided you on that topic?
Right, yes. So that's our first priority, is obviously having the legal team there in order to make sure that everything is outlined. But like I said, these are all certified crisis intervention protocols directly from a licensed psychologist for over 35 years who deals with this on a regular basis in an emergency situation. So with that, and then also we plan to partner with the Mayo Clinic. We're currently in talks with them in doing a content licensing deal. So we're going to be able to have cited information and license their library, so all this information is precise and the most accurate possible.
Just a quick follow-up. Your work with the clinic, could you talk a little more about that and their desire to work with you?
Yeah, so essentially we reached out, Dr. Kathy and I reached out to the Mayo Clinic, and they offer content licensing. So for $10,000 to $15,000 a year, we can license their content on our website. And we are currently working on a dual advertising deal as well. So where our website would be posted on theirs, vice versa. So we'd have the certified Mayo Clinic behind us as well.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
I think what you're doing is incredibly important. And I think most of my questions about your particular pitch have been answered through follow-up questions. But I would challenge you to think, if you do not win tonight, how you can bring this idea to fruition in a smaller scale and get it going. And I wanted to encourage you to do so, because I think it's very, very important work. So,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great presentation, Ben. Our fourth and final finalist is junior Harrison Demera. Harrison is a media and society major. He worked with pitch mentor Mike Dugan, class of '92, who is CEO of Phillips Distilling Company. Won't you please welcome Harrison, the creator of Icon Influencer Marketing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Harrison, and this is Icon Influencer Marketing. We are a brand to influencer marketing platform that will change the face of the advertising industry. How many of you are familiar with Ryan? Okay, just a few. Well, you should be, because this 6-year-old boy made $11 million last year reviewing toys on his YouTube channel. I'm sure a few more of you are familiar with these social media celebrities, but did you know that they get paid up to $500,000 for posting pictures on Instagram? These two along with many other social media icons, are influencers. An influencer is basically someone with a following on social media who has the power to influence the opinions, habits, and buying decisions of their viewers. Now, allow me to tell you a little story about how I recognized the potential in influencer marketing with my journey into social media. Around 9 months ago, I started making videos for both YouTube and Instagram. I was doing it just for fun and to entertain my friends, but with a little bit of hard work and a lot of luck, I was able to grow my accounts to have a micro community of around 25,000 people. Once I gained this following, brands began to recognize me as an influencer and reach out asking me to post sponsored content representing their brand. Now, while representing these brands was awesome and the money was good, I found that the process of communicating with the brand, negotiating compensation, scheduling the ad, and organizing payment was both inefficient and time-consuming. And so there, Icon influencer marketing was born. I recognized that there was a real demand for a platform that could streamline this process for brands to advertise through influencers. Icon is a brand-to-influencer platform that will combine the perks of both AI tech and basic human interaction in order to create an affordable and effective influencer solution for brands of any size. In this presentation, I will demonstrate that influencer marketing is a multi-billion-dollar market, as well as the future of advertising, and that Icon will be a leader in this market. Now, allow me to start by demonstrating how Icon's platform will work using Blue Apron's meal delivery service as an example. So Blue Apron visits Icon's platform and describes what they are looking for in an influencer, using statistics like age, location, viewing demographic, size, and more. They then detail their desired ad, such as an unboxing video where the influencer cooks the meal, mentions certain product features, and shares a 15% off code. Now let's take a potential influencer. This is Justin Escalona, a YouTuber with over 275,000 subscribers and a very active fan base. If Justin desires to work with Blue Apron on their campaign, he will first have to fill out the Icon application. This will contain his social profile, which will include analytics from all his social media accounts, as well as a brief paragraph about his community and content. Blue Apron then receives Justin's application and decides whether or not they wish to advertise with him. This is what advertising looks like in 2018, and here's how Icon can help facilitate it for brands. Icon's two main advertisement categories are sponsored posts and sales-based campaigns. Sponsored posts are when influencers are compensated for posting a branded advertisement on their socials. This helps brands gain exposure or cultivate a community which can become buyers. Sales-based campaigns are when influencers are provided with their own custom affiliate link and compensated with commission on sales. This type of campaign is great for small brands and provides them with sales and lead generation. How many times have you seen an ad that looks just like this and immediately exited out without even noticing what it was? Probably a lot. One big thing that Icon is focused on is creating advertisements that do not intrude on the social media space, but rather add to it by respecting the unique language that each social media platform has and inspiring meaningful content. Simply put, get rid of bad ads. Now let's get into why this is valuable for brands. Influencer marketing provides brands with precision targeted exposure, ensuring that you reach your desired audience. Icon will also simplify the process of finding, researching, hiring, and compensating these influencers. The personal dashboard is the hub for brands in completing this process. Icon also, one of the hardest things for brands to do is build both trust and authenticity. But fortunately, with the advent of social media, Icon will have influencers build that trust for the brand. 6 in 10 YouTube users say that they would follow advice on what to buy from their favorite influencer. Icon also creates affordable and testable marketing. During a campaign, you receive tangible benefits, such as views, engagement, and comments, as well as intangible benefits like trust, authenticity, and organic conversation. We plan to begin our influencer segments in the middle and macro level stages, but eventually we would like to create a solution for micro-influencer campaigns. This is when you use 25 or so medium-sized influencers rather than just one large. It's a growing movement that brands are just now beginning to utilize, and Icon will be at the forefront. Now on the flip side, as my customer segments are two-sided, why is this valuable for influencers? First off, a big part of my mission with Icon is finding a way to sponsor creativity and help people monetize their passions. In addition to just brand deals, Icon will also contain a nonprofits and causes section where influencers can help spread awareness to causes that align with their personal brand, as well as doing something powerful with the influence that they have on the internet. Now you might be asking yourself, who is Icon competing against? On one end of the spectrum, we have traditional agencies, where brands go to them, request influencers, and the agency goes and finds them. Sounds simple in concept, but these agencies are overpriced, outdated, and they eliminate direct brand to influencer communication. On the other hand, we have AI software-based companies, which rely entirely on software and numbers to pair brands and influencers. This leads to forced advertisements that don't truly encapsulate the brand's message. So how will Icon make money? Our primary revenue stream comes from collecting an 8% transaction fee on all transactions between brand and influencer. Additionally, brands will have the option to purchase our premium data sales service, which contains the results from affiliate link campaigns. This business model will allow us to show consistent growth over year 1 and year 2, and become profitable beginning year 3. Our research shows that similar SaaS models' average gross margin is around 90%. Now on the flip side, our largest expense is the development of our technology platform. With the $10,000 from the pitch, I will pour it right into the development of our platform with the goal of beginning beta testing early next fall. Icon's startup cost is $100,000, and we will be able to pay that off and still turn a profit in year 3. A startup working with social media is a safe investment, as social media has proven its permanence and will only continue to grow. One of the biggest challenges for two-way customer segments is that brands want to see influencers on the platform and influencers want to work with brands. So how do we start from zero then? With my connections in the social media world, we will be able to develop a base of influencers who will help spread the word of mouth. And also, by starting with a beta period, granting a few brands access to the platform will help us gain traction. Last but not least, the average adult human being sees over 5,000 advertisements per day. So why not make them more meaningful rather than simply distractions? Influencer marketing is the future, and Icon will provide the most effective solution. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I think for a lot of us, it's a new world. I wanted to sort of have you touch a little bit upon the credibility of your influencers, what you see as Icon's role there in maintaining their credibility, if you've given any thought to what your legal responsibility is, all around that issue. Thank you.
Okay, so that's where the benefits of AI tech come in for vetting influencers to be allowed onto the platform. Based on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram's analytics, we will be able to detect what kind of content they post, whether they've been flagged for various abuse, and also we're able to compare their followership versus their engagement. You know, if someone has 10,000 followers but gets 50 likes per picture, there's probably something missing there. And that's where AI tech can help vet influencers from the platform and make sure that brands are only met with quality influencers.
Where are you in developing this tech?
I have not done any development on the platform, but I have all the ideas of what I want in there, just making sure that I hire the proper software developer who can help make everything that I want a reality.
Harrison, I like this idea. I own a website that is intended to influence the global pharmaceutical and biotech industries and moving to 21st century microbiology innovations. I actually have sponsors on the site. I'm still waiting for that $1 billion check, though. I don't know when it's coming.
Just start reviewing toys.
Some of these are toys. But I want to have a follow-up question from your last answer, and this is regarding the AI algorithm development. In your first year, you've set up web and software development costs of $75,000. I have a feeling developing an AI platform is going to be a bit more than $75,000, and you're going to need some serious expertise. So could you please clarify where those costs and those expertise are going to come from?
Yeah, well, first off, I'm trying to build a team and surround myself with the best software developers who are far more advanced in that than I am. My knowledge doesn't really extend too much into software development, but from friends that I've talked to, they do believe that what I want on the platform is possible and can be done. The first year is a beta period, so we're making sure that we are developing the platform and only allowing a certain amount of brands onto the platform, as well as a certain amount of influencers, in order to test and make sure that there's no problems with the platform. I feel as if a lot of my competitors rushed into the market, and it led to a lot of problems. I've used my competitors' websites to help get brand deals, and I've left them frustrated, and I would imagine brands have the same experience.
Okay, so then when would the AI start to be developed during that time period, or would it come after your beta test phase?
I believe it would be being developed during the beta, and it would be expanding based on problems we see during that beta. If there's a problem, making sure that the algorithm is going to be able to vet this influencer, and just making sure that it's a solution that influencers and brands are coming back to and not leaving the platform. We want recurring clients.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so in the old days, not quite as old as the class of '83, who used chalkboards and chalk, but I mean in '93, the internet really wasn't here either. But in the old days, marketers, brands didn't like competitors, so they wanted a spokesperson that would use their brand and not be seen. Think of Coke and Pepsi. You see your favorite basketball star drink a Coke, they'd never be seen drinking a Pepsi. How do the brands now feel about that? Could your influencers influence for competitors? Tell me a little bit about that, please.
That's a great question, and it's actually something I've been considering myself. One thing that I want to implement on the platform is that if an influencer has worked with one brand, that shows up. You see what the advertisement was and what brand they worked with, so that you don't have competitors fighting over one influencer. And so that a brand can assess, hey, if this person worked with this soda company, I don't want to work with them now because that is a conflict of interest. And I think that's a problem that my competitors have not considered yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for being the anchor man of the presentation tonight. So this is an area I'm pretty familiar with. It's mammoth. The opportunity is really big. You've answered a couple of questions in your presentation that I had, which was what areas would you target, et cetera. The greatest challenge I have here for you is twofold. One is it is competitive. There are other services out there, and you said you've explored it, which is great, and you should do that. And as you explore it and you learn about what works, what doesn't work, there are other engineers that are moving fast with bigger budgets, and that's always the great challenge of the small company. But as Suzanne said in the beginning, you can still do it. So I encourage that. But I think getting the first couple brands in may be harder than the influencers. The influencers are interested, but the brands are always going to look for the big platforms. And so the big guys, the Instagrams and Facebook and Snap, et cetera, are making lots of money in this area. So my challenge to you is, how do you do it step by step so that you're successful and you don't have too big a challenge, and that you set out some really distinct goals? And what have you thought of there?
Yeah, so in the people I've been talking to about how to acquire brands for the platform, a big area we want to start is in the Instagram and YouTube fitness community. I know that there's brands that are interested in working with Instagrammers and social media profiles. So that's a market that we know that we can tackle. And I think one big differentiator for our, compare us to the competitors, I know it's becoming a crowded space and influencer marketing is a hot topic right now. But I think we can differentiate ourselves with our interest in the micro-influencer segment. A lot of our competitors are really focused on the celebrities, but there you're dealing with talent agents and management. And I think that the micro-influencer segment is only going to continue to grow as their content comes across as way more authentic and original, and it really sparks that organic conversation that brands are looking for. Thank you.
That was great, Harrison. This concludes our pitch presentations. Let's give all of our finalists a huge hand for their wonderful work. At this time, I'm going to excuse our judges who begin to deliberate. Judges, please follow Susan outside. And the audience can go outside and enjoy a brief dessert reception. We will return in 10 minutes for an interview with last year's winner, Sam Solomon. Okay, we're going to get started. With us this evening is Sam Solomon, class of 2017, who won last year's pitch competition with Pizza Posto. Lizzie Weingast, a finalist of the pitch 2 years ago, has agreed to interview Sam so we can learn from some of his experiences. Won't you please welcome Sam and Lizzie?
All right, Sam. How are we all doing tonight? Good? Excited to hear the winner? We're just filling time.
Yeah.
All right, so our first question of the night for you, Sam. What do you think has been the biggest benefit from participating in the pitch, which you did not once, but twice during his time here at HWS?
What was it? The biggest advantage of working in the pitch?
Biggest benefit.
Biggest benefit.
Yeah.
I'd probably say there's two big benefits to the pitch. So the first has to do with the business plan, and the second has to do with the presentation. So to be an entrepreneur, especially right out of college, or I guess at any time, you have to motivate yourself to do all the work, right? Because there's no contract that you have. No one's forcing you to be there. You have to do it all yourself. So say you graduated from HWS and you had done no work on your business plan. You have to motivate yourself every single day to do a ton of research and come up with so much information that you then have to pitch to a bank or, say, an investor. Very difficult. Very difficult to motivate yourself to do that on your own. So the beauty of the pitch is that, gosh, I guess for 3, sometimes 4 months, you are forced to work on your business plan. You're forced to make it so polished so that by the time you send it to those 4 judges, it's ready to go to a bank. And so when I graduated and after winning the pitch, I needed more money. So when I went to a bank, I had this business plan that I didn't even have to touch. I didn't have to do a thing to it, and they all have that too. I've read all their plans. They could take any one of their plans to a bank right now, and they'd be serious contenders for funding, all because of the process that they went through with the pitch. So that's huge. For the presentation, very few people spend months coming up with an 8-minute pitch, you know? And when you spend months working on an 8-minute pitch, you understand every little aspect of that pitch and what makes that pitch, and therefore others, work. So, right, I'm up here in front of you guys all now. I've done this before. I have a lot of confidence in it. They can go up on any stage, right? This is, a couple hundred people. Most presentations are far smaller. So they're going to have so much confidence going into the future with any presentation because they got up here and they all killed it.
Yes, I think we can all agree they all killed it. All right, our second question of the day. So basically at HWS, there's a lot of entrepreneurial studies, events and programs, and we're really fortunate enough to go to a school that encourages innovation. So how has your time here at HWS shaped you into the entrepreneur you are today?
That's a tough one because, all 4 years shaped me into the entrepreneur I am today. If I had to pinpoint one experience.
Or I guess the experience of going to a liberal arts school like HWS.
Right. Well, the one experience I would choose is Centennial Center for Leadership, Entrepreneurship, and Innovation puts on the Leadership Institute every year. And so that's a weekend of leadership seminars. So I participated my sophomore year. They brought in an alum, Dr. Jeremy Cushman, who is I think he's a ER doctor, possibly surgeon in Rochester, and he's also in charge of coordinating, or at the time he was in charge of coordinating all emergency medical responses in Rochester. Very difficult job. So he led a seminar called How to Save a Life, which I was attracted to because it sounded pretty cool. So he talked about how leaders have to know what they don't know. right? And so in different fields, that's of varying importance, right? In pizza, it's not as important as it is in surgery, because if I'm a doctor and Lizzie's a doctor and we're both going to perform something, but Lizzie's far better at it than I am, or she knows more than I do, I better be willing to admit that she's better than I am and she should do the surgery, not me, right? So I learned the value of understanding what you don't know really well, and then being able to identify people who do know what you need to know and asking for help. When I came to HWS, I asked for help, but I was a little more hesitant, right? Because there's this stigma around asking for help, that you're weak if you're asking for help, or whatever, you're not smart enough. That is so not true. I ask for help all the time because I have to. There are so many things that I don't know that I need so much help on for Pizza Posto. And the thing is, people think that they're bothering people by asking for help. But actually, you're complimenting them. The people that have helped me, the entrepreneurs that I've gone to for help, they can think back, I'm sure, to the mentors that helped them. And so when I reach out to them, they get a good feeling out of helping me. So I guess, yeah, understanding what I don't know and being willing to ask for help and putting your ego aside.
So going off of what you don't know and learning to ask for help, since you graduated, what has been your biggest challenge?
So I bought the truck, about a month ago. I bought the food truck for Pizza Posto. And I consider myself a car guy, but I guess I'm not really, because I inspected this whole truck, right? And I saw that third pedal, and I just kind of didn't even want to ask. And so as I'm giving the guy the check for the truck, he's like, all right, so how are you going to get it back to Geneva? It was 200 miles away. It's a pretty old truck. And I said, we're just going to drive it. And he was like, oh, all right, so you know how to drive a manual? And I don't. So I guess, I had to have my professor, Jack Harris, thank God. He drove it back a third of the way, and then when he got too tired, luckily I had a friend with me who had driven a manual transmission once in a parking lot when he was 16, and he drove my truck 150 miles home, which was so terrifying for me, but I had no other choice because I didn't know how to drive a stick. So about 10 days ago, I finally got my first lesson, and we're getting there. If you see a big black truck on 5 and 20, don't go close to it.
How long do you think it's going to take you to learn?
I mean, I'm getting the hang of it. So yeah. I learned in a pretty new Subaru, which made things seem really easy. All the gears are right here. You know, the clutch is really easy. It's consistent. My truck is the shifter is probably this long. There's 4 gears, which are 1's here, 2's here, 3's there, and 4's here. So it's very difficult to get the hang of it. It'll probably be a few months till I
Hopefully you're not making pizza while you're trying to learn to drive a stick.
Yes, no, the pizza will be the easy part of the story. Yeah.
All right, so one thing I valued the most throughout my pitch experience was being paired with a mentor. So looking back on your time in the pitch twice and having multiple mentors, is there one specific piece of advice you got that really stuck with you?
One specific piece of advice. I can't really pinpoint any from a mentor that, one specific piece that was really helpful. I guess I would say the best advice I got was from my parents. When I was younger, my parents, every night before I'm a triplet, so my brothers and I, we all went to bed at the same time in separate rooms. And before we went to bed,
thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, my parents would come around and they would talk to all of us for 20 minutes each about. And they had this ritual where they would say something and we would say it back, and they would say something and we would say it back. So they would say, and you can be, and I would say, whatever I want to be. And then they would say, and you're going to be, and I would say, a rubbernecker, because I really like fire trucks. But they made me every night tell them that I could be whatever I wanted to be, instead of them telling me, which definitely had a different effect. So I knew growing up and when I was here that I could do anything and my parents would still support me. So a lot of people were like, wow, you got a $250,000 degree and you're gonna do pizza? My parents would kill me. But I knew my parents wouldn't kill me because they told me I could do whatever I want.
Yeah, going off of that, I think being confident is a huge thing that entrepreneurs need. I remember during my time at the pitch, my mentor, who started his own business with his wife, who was a William Smith grad, he told me to be confident, but always stay humble. And I think that was an awesome piece of advice that I really value still.
That's a good one.
So now that you're on the other side of the table and a promising entrepreneur, do you have any piece of advice for Maura, Andrew, Ben, and Harrison?
Yeah, so one of you is going to win, of course. But the other three of you should absolutely not give up. You all, and I know they say this every year, they have to, you all have amazing ideas. But seriously, you all have ideas with huge potential, and you can all get there. Just the connections that you can make in this room with the judges and staff and professors here, they can get you across the finish line. So, you know, Yuri and Otto, I competed against them last year. Otto's no longer involved with Deals en Route, but Yuri just today moved out to Boulder, Colorado to launch Deals en Route, right? He never gave up. And so entrepreneurship and risk go hand in hand. But the thing is, it's super risky to be an entrepreneur because there's no certainty. And so that's really difficult when you're like 45 years old and you have a mortgage and kids and a wife or a husband and health insurance. It's really hard to then say, okay, I'm going to quit my job and try to do this thing that's hopefully going to make me money and support us. I'm 23. They're going to graduate. Their parents still pay for their health insurance. They don't have a mortgage. They don't have kids. Right now is the best time you can go for it. So I would say to the three of you that do not win, you should absolutely still go for it.
I would definitely agree with you. I remember sitting in your shoes, and I was on the other side of losing. And I think that you should really step back afterwards, the three of you who unfortunately don't get to hold up the big check tonight, and really take advantage of the group you have here, the amazing support you have at the colleges, and carry it through. And
What did you learn through losing? So,
okay.
Sorry.
I lost.
So those of you who don't know, I lost the pitch, okay? I did this my sophomore year and my senior year, so I lost the pitch. I know what that's like. And I think you actually learn a lot more through losing than you would through winning. So I'm curious what you learned.
Yeah. So I lost, and I was really, really, really upset. And then I took a week off, didn't think of anything about my proposal, didn't even think about the pitch. And then I watched the YouTube video link that Susan sent out of my pitch, and I was like looking at every little mistake, and I was like, I was so confident up there, I thought I got this, and I realized that you can always be better. There's always things you can work on. You can keep on moving forward and never settle, never think it's okay or good. You have to keep on pushing. Also, I think that just making it to the Final Four and being in this experience, you just need to understand how amazing that is. Even if you don't win, having this, knowing how to get up here, give an 8-minute pitch, you can carry that through to every other aspect of your life. You can carry that through to an interview. You can carry that through to a school presentation. There's so many things you learn just from being in this environment and this experience.
Do you think you're a much better pitcher now, like through your internships and stuff?
Yes, for sure. For sure. And I talk about it all the time. I'll be at work and I'll be like, well, Amy Forbes at the CCL told me I should do this when I present. Yeah, you learn so much. Yep. So our next question of the night is, if you can go back and change one thing, what would it be?
The truck would be automatic.
That's it?
That's it.
Nothing else. Calm, cool, and collected.
There hasn't been any like huge major hiccups that have like really
knock on wood.
Up.
Something
bad's
about
the truck's at the shop right now. Hopefully nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the truck would be automatic. I would get an extra like 30 minutes of sleep a night with that.
Okay. So another question we can. Does anyone else have questions in the audience for Sam? Yeah.
What did you learn when you lost that you applied to when you won?
I think the importance of the business plan as far as this competition goes. The first time I did the pitch, I had a partner, so that was really helpful because we complemented each other. But this time, I had to do the business plan all on my own. And the first time, I don't really know what my approach was to the business plan, but the second time, I just took it like a thesis paper. And my thesis was Pizza Posto will be successful, and I just had to find any bit of data that would support it. And so I wrote it more like a paper in one of my sociology classes as opposed to like what I thought like a straightforward business plan would be. And it flowed much better, and I found a ton more data. I tried to think more outside the box as to what data could help me. So, like, how do millennials love pizza? Yeah, guess what they do. And guess what? There's been a 37% increase in the millennial population in Geneva. Great. So I think the way I approached the business plan definitely differed from the first year I was in it to the second year.
What part do you think is the most important of the business plan? Because I personally think you can tell right away at a cost structure. I think numbers don't lie, so that's the first thing you can tell. But I know some people think looking at your leadership council, looking at the initial value proposition. What do you think?
I think so they give us 8 sections. When you do the pitch competition, they tell you you have these 8 or 10 sections that have to be filled out and they have to be in your plan. I agree. I think cost structure can sink you very easily. If I were reading the plans as the judges, I would focus most on the viability research. That had better be chock full of data that shows that your idea is going to be successful, and not just you saying, I think it's going to be successful because my friend, blah, blah, blah. It has to be grounded in data. And so, honestly, I might just go straight to the works cited, and if you're not citing data,
interesting,
then you're probably just talking about things that you think will work.
And do you think a strong business proposal is more important than a strong pitch, if you had to choose? Because I think Q&A is the most important part.
Yeah, we fight on this.
Yeah, we fight on this all the time.
So the first thing that the judges all got the business plans like a week ago. So the first thing that they saw, their first impression of each idea was the business plan. So if the business plan isn't really strong, they're not going to think you have a really strong idea right off the bat. The way I look at it personally is that your pitch is a highlight of your business plan. So you should be pitching the best parts of your plan. Q&A, I think it's important. I think it can sink you if you shoot yourself in the foot, but I think there's more importance on the plan.
Okay, also, you are a local Geneva resident now, so I was wondering if you could speak about how amazing the upcoming entrepreneurial environment is in downtown Geneva and how you think Pizza Poster will add to that.
Oh boy. Specifically food and beverage wise, so Geneva is trying to become a hub for food and beverage. So you've seen a lot of new business go up around food, like Luigi's, Old and New World Market. The Monaco's coffee shop just went up. FLX Table is expanding. They're going to be opening up FLX Frybird on Linden Street, which is like late night fried chicken, which sounds pretty sweet. So there's a lot of new food coming to town. I think it's just going to keep going. The city offers money to new and existing small businesses to either help them get started or grow. So I needed money to help Pizza Posto get started. I pitched, the city of Geneva has a revolving loan fund where you can borrow money at 2% interest, which is ridiculously low for those of you who don't know about interest. I had to learn. That's like a joke, 2% interest. So they're giving away money practically to help get new businesses like Pizza Posta started. And I'll say, when I went into that meeting for that $25,000, this was 10 times harder to win the $10,000 than it was to get a $25,000 loan from the city, or than it was to get a $25,000 loan from the bank. Because I had already done so much research through this competition that I was ready, and they were impressed with the plan that we had done, and so, they granted us the funding.
So you've seen both sides of the table. You've been a student here at the colleges and taking advantage of the entrepreneurship program, as well as now you're an entrepreneur in Geneva. How do you think the schools could better utilize their growing entrepreneurship environment?
The entrepreneurship environment, like in Geneva as a whole? Gosh.
It was kind of a hard question.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so I definitely had an advantage my year being the business that was going to stay in Geneva, because we all love Geneva. I think the school can do a better job at communicating the advantages of starting a business in Geneva. So like I was saying, you make no money off your business in the beginning, right? Like I've spent so many months on Pizza Posto, so many hours, and I haven't earned a dime from it.
When do you expect to break even?
You judge. I don't know when we'll break even. Once you kind of win, you worry less about the break even and more about like when am I actually going to start making money? That's my real question right now, which hopefully it will be like a month and a half. But I think the school can do a better job communicating all of the things that Geneva has to offer as far as starting a business goes, right? So this revolving loan fund, that's awesome for new small businesses trying to get started in Geneva. They have a micro enterprise grant, which is you can get up to $25,000 in funding, and if you're open for 5 years or more, you don't owe any of it back. You don't even have to pay them back. It's free money. It's crazy. So with all these different programs, plus the incredibly low cost of living in Geneva, I mean, I can't think of a better place to try to start a business.
All right. Are we good for? Okay, perfect.
Let's give a big hand to Sam and Lizzie for that. They obviously had to fill a little bit longer than we had expected. This is probably the longest deliberation we've had. It's clearly a difficult decision. Let's give another hand to our finalists. This was by far an impressive year. I'm going to invite President Vinson to come up and give a few of his remarks as our judges take their seats shortly.
I know what you all are thinking. Hurry up already so we can get to the winners. But before we announce the winners, I just wanted to thank all of you so much for supporting our pitch finalists. As an alum and president, it doesn't get much better than tonight. And seeing these amazing presentations that were just given with such professionalism and innovation. And we also want to welcome back some of our esteemed alumni and alumnae. And then, of course, seeing so many of you, our students, faculty, staff, family members. It is just wonderful to see the audience engaged and thinking about the future. And so, without further ado, David, don't sit down. I'd like to ask my classmate, David Kaplan, to come to the podium to announce the winner. And drum roll, please.
Well, thank you to everybody that organized this, for sure. President Vincent, well done. It was your first. It was our first. Rest of the judges, everyone else involved. And most importantly, 4 people that all of us would hire in a second. The presentation, world class, mature. There were some, I think, future S&P 500 CEOs and all that presented up here. What we also really loved was how every one of the presenters had at some point in time done something, touched something or someone, and saw an opportunity and saw that there are certain ways that items work out there or things or situations that right in front of our eyes every day can affect you, and you see an opportunity, and there are opportunities to make it better. So we just want to also thank you all for those that are in the audience that have not yet been on stage and are hopefully motivated by the quality and the work that everybody put in. So with that in mind, and we just want to thank everyone, but the winner of this pitch is Revolve.
We're going to get some pictures. We want to thank you all for coming out for the 7th annual pitch. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the Centennial Center for staff for how incredible they are at making this event happen every year. And, Ed and Kaylin and Amy, it is a real pleasure to work with you as a team. Thank you. Have a good night.
Congratulations. It was phenomenal. So
So great to meet you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. All right.